you can hear my voice now, all of you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's today the connection is little unstable, so please bear with me. So we were looking at this, that in case a customer has estate in multiple locations across the globe and in different countries, you'll have to take care of, make a will for each of them separately and take care of the law pertaining to that particular country. So if client holds overseas assets, especially property, the client needs to have separate wills in each country and a lawyer in that country should draft these. If not, the legal system in the country will determine who will inherit it. In some jurisdiction, it might not be possible to make a will, then where that in the case, an offshore trust must need consideration where clients are wealthy custom individuals. So basically, we've been talking about it. So you will, in relationship management and wealth management, you will be dealing with people who are wealthy, who are rich, and probably they might also have a requirement for estate plan. And we need to, obviously, we'll have to take care of, use the help of probably a lawyer to do it, and probably a CA for managing their financial, for their tax planning. But we have to be also, we have to also be involved in this. Or there are many people जो कि ना अपने bankers पे बहुत trust करते हैं. So if you want to be that, you have to be aware of these things as well. So in India, we're talking about different laws. So we know that there's a Hindu law, there's a Muslim law, and that there is a campaign going on to have one set of law. But I don't know when it will come. But depending on the religion of the customer also, we'll have to look, we will have to take care in the succession plan. So overall sets of rules on the administration of estate contained in the Indian Succession Act 1929. So fortunately for us, for all kind of financial assets, we can always take a nomination. So it is like if you look at as we go, you will see how cumbersome or how hassle the process is. So all of us know legal processes are very cumbersome. So we should try to avoid all this. And thankfully for us, we can always take care of the nomination, which is valid for most of the financial instruments. So we should, ensure that we have nomination from the customer for all kind of financial assets. For especially immovable assets, he'll have to have make a will. So the Constitution of India provides freedom of conscience. Family law has always been a part of religious law. No uniform code for civil law exists in India. So that is what we are gunning for, uniform code for the country. So it's a part of directive principle of state policy of the Constitution of India. Laws of marriage and successions are the most intricate amongst the religious law. Inheritance issues in India are very complicated. So again, we have to understand our role. We are after all bankers. We are not lawyers. We cannot decide. Okay, but we should suggest or we should advise the customer to have a will, because this will ensure smooth the transition of the asset from the investor to the next generations. Okay. So as financial planners or financial advisors, this is also a part of our job to advise the customer regarding making provision for intergeneration distribution of assets. So some laws which are relevant. So, hello, can you hear me? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there was a pop-up showing that internet is unstable, so that's why I wanted to check. Anyways, so India, different religious group still subscribe to different laws. So you have Hindus have their own law that is partly codified in the Hindu Succession Act and is partly uncodified. Muslims have their own textual law of inheritance in the Islamic law of succession. Then Parsis, Christians, and other are covered under Indian Succession Act. So depending on the religion of the customer, there would be different laws. So basically, we'll also have to look at the religious aspect of the customer. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Okay, sorry, I just got disconnected again. I think this should not be repeated. I should stay connected. Just give me a moment. I hope all of you can. So the Indian Succession Act was enacted to consolidate and bring under its purview the customary law governing the estate succession. So in India, estate duty, a variant of inheritance tax, was abolished in 1985 on the specific ground that not much revenue was in case accruing from it. So जैसे हमने देखा कि the customer also need to plan any inheritance tax which his successors will have to pay, but in India we do not have any inheritance tax. So we have three different laws governing the succession in India: the Hindu Succession Act, the Islamic Law of Succession, and Indian Succession Act 1925. While the personal law of each of the above mentioned communities set out the law of succession, the Indian Succession Act permits all the rules and procedures for administration. So what are the tools for estate planning? So जब हम बता रहे हैं कि हमको estate planning करनी है, तो क्या क्या यूज कर सकता है customer? The first one is will. Will, as the name suggests, is how the investor wants his estate to be distributed. So that's the intention of the testator. So जो will बनाता है उसको testator कहते हैं. Okay. अगर will बनाए बिना कोई मर जाता है तो उसको बोलते हैं he's died intestate. Okay. So testator is the person who writes the will. So will means the legal declaration or intention of testator with respect to his property which he desires to be carried out into effect after his death. Then in the will, he'll have to give a power of attorney. So power of attorney is a legal arrangement which authorizes other person to act on his behalf. Then rather than making a will, he can also form a trust. So trust, we have seen trust as a legal entity. So in the trust, somebody holds assets for benefit of someone else. So you have trustees and you have beneficiaries. So this person can form a trust wherever immediate transfer is not possible. So trust is used to place of will to transfer the ownership of financial asset where direct or immediate transfer is not possible due to certain reason, and the purpose is to protect the interest of the beneficiary. Then gifts. Gifts is also a mode through which the wealth can be transferred to the legal heirs or the intended person. The gift, give the gift during his lifetime. So will is a legal document that tells the world what is to happen on an individual assets when they die. And the Indian Succession Act defines a will as a legal declaration of intention of the testator. तो testator का मतलब आप तक समझ में आ गया होगा. The person who is writing the will, या जिसका asset है, he will be able to decide कि ये पैसा किसको मिलना चाहिए with respect to his property which he desires to carry it into effect after his death. So will is actually an intention of the person or the owner of the asset to decide who this who these assets should pass to on event of his death. So in other words, a will is a document made by a person whereby he disposes his property. Such disposal comes into effect only after the death of the testator. So gift दे दिया तो फिर the problem he can never reclaim it, but will come into effect only after his death. Now a testator might have made many wills. पहले वाले विल में कुछ अपने बड़े बेटे को दिया, फिर देखा कि नहीं, he is not taking good care of me, तो वो will हटा के छोटे बेटे को दे दिया, you know. So there has to after his death we need to know whether this will is valid or not, and there is a certain criteria. The will should meet the criteria for it to be a valid will. So obviously nothing can be illegal. So terms of the will must conform to the law. It must be executed by a person legally competent to make it. It can be made by a person who is not a minor. Isn't sound so the same thing we had seen in the capacity to contract. So we have seen that this person should not be a minor, should be in sound mind, and who executes the will free from fraud, coercion, and undue influence. So this, if you remember, we had also seen in the contract. So the contract had to be valid. The person making the contract should be capable of doing it. Now, do you describe a capability of a person? He should not be a minor, should be of sound mind, there should not be any fraud, coercion, and undue influence. A will has to be in writing. The testator must sign the will in presence of a witness, and two of more witnesses must attest by their signature. So it has to be signed in presence of two people just to ensure that it is a valid will. ऐसा भी हो सकता है ना, somebody forges the signature. So और ऐसे frauds हुए हैं, banks में भी fraud हुए हैं जहाँ पे bank officials themselves have signed the nomination form in their favor on death of the customer. So therefore nomination form में भी अगर if you remember, there is a requirement for witness evidencing that this is being signed by the person named in the customer himself. So it should relate to the disposition of the property by testator and be intended to take effect only on demise of the testator. So a will need to be in legal language, and it is not necessary to use technical terms. At the time of interpretation of the will, regard must be taken not only to the actual word used, but also to the evident intention of the testator. So it is essential that the testator makes very clear his or her intention to dispose of property in a will. And because the will come into effect on the death of the testator, this means that it is irrevocable. This example I gave you, the testator can change their mind and execute a new will whenever they like and as many times as they like. So during his lifetime, he can change his will as many number of times as he wants. So if the testator chooses to make a new will, it will be expressly state that it revokes a previous will for the avoidance of doubt. Alternately, the testator can revoke a will by destroying the document. So wills can be changed till the death of the testator. So a will can also be registered with a competent authority. However, this is no way affect the revocability of the will, and the testator can revoke a registered will and replace it with a subsequent will, even if it is not registered. So that till the time the person is alive, he can change his will any number of times, and he can register it to give it more authenticity. So the testator must be personally present at the register office along with witness who need not be the same witness who has signed the will. So registration of a will provides evidence that the proper parties have appeared before the registering office and that officers have attested the document after ascertaining the identity. And once registered, a copy is placed in the safe custody of the registrar. However, registration of will is not compulsory in India. However, it provides evidence of that the will has been validly executed by the testator. So जो आप पहले हिंदी मूवी देखते हैं शक्ति कपूर trying to destroy the will, so वो सब करने के लिए registered is better. After the person is dead, nobody will come and tell no कि ये will किसने बनाई है, whether it's a valid will or not. So if it is registered with the registrar during the lifetime of the testator, it will give the estate would be distributed as per the will of the testator. So following people may acquire property in India by purchase or inheritance. So most foreign citizens, if resident in India, is on work permit, business visa holder on declaration of residency with prior approval from authorities. However, there's some restriction on citizens of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, China, Iran, Nepal, and Bhutan cannot acquire or transfer immovable of property in India other than by a lease not exceeding 5 years. So इसके ऊपर तो बहुत ज्यादा पहले से बवाल चल रहा है. Citizens of Pakistan and Bangladesh, we feel there is a lot of interpretation. So these people are not allowed to purchase or acquire properties in India. And so, property inheritance is also governed by certain laws. So during the lifetime, the person can nominate anybody. That's not a problem. But in case there is no nomination, then they will be distributed as per the law. So property inheritance in India under Islamic law. So the following person are disqualified from inheritance. So non-Muslims, murderers, children in the womb, illegitimate children, daughters by custom, insane or unchaste person, step parents, childless widows, absent heirs. So this is as per the Muslim law. So these people cannot inherit. Under Hindu law, the following persons are disqualified from inheritance. So Hindu of a predeceased son or son's sons who remarried during the lifetime of the deceased, children of a Hindu convert to a non-Hindu religion, or a murderer. So there's no issue with the gifts. Gifts can be made during the lifetime of the property owner. There is little restriction on the gift of any property during the lifetime of the owner. Owner has full power of disposing of their own property in India or inter-reverse. So he can dispose his property whenever he wants. Gifts, however, may be challenged in the court of law on certain grounds, such as disqualification of the donor due to mental instability. So for example, if a son is not taking care of his parent, and parent ने क्या किया कि नौकर को inherit कर दिया, so in that case, obviously, this can be, contempted in the court of law. But otherwise, there is no restriction during his lifetime. The person can gift it to anyone. And then the decision of the court after the issue becomes sub judice, when it goes to the court, then the court has the power to decide who the money should go. So asset owed by the customer can be our estate asset, and you can specify in your will to whom those assets should be gifted through your estate. Non-estate assets are assets that are jointly owned and they cannot be gifted in the will. This may be because legal owner of the asset, even though you have a control over them during your lifetime, are owned jointly by another party. So आपके जो FDs हैं joint में या फिर mutual funds हैं, तो obviously उसको आप will में नहीं रख सकते. So full ownership of asset held as joint tenants will automatically pass on to the survivor upon the death of a joint owner. So if you remember, when we were looking at account opening, we had seen that the mode of operation is, either or survivor. That means till the time both people holding the account are alive, anyone can operate. However, on death of a person, the first right would be of the survivor. That means the person, the second holder, or the person who has survived. And it is the will of the last surviving owner that will determine to whom the asset is eventually transferred. This most often applies to the family home. So nomination में भी अगर आप देखो, so nomination becomes valid only after all the adjoint holders die. Till the time the joint holders are alive, it will pass on to the successor or to the surviving member. Only on death of all the holders will the nomination apply. It can also be transferred to trust. So trust we have seen are people who hold the assets on behalf of someone else. So trustees are not the owners. They are only the custodians or the safekeeper of assets of the beneficiary. So a trust is a legal means by which one person gives property to another person to look after on behalf of yet another individual or a set of individuals. So an individual can create one during their lifetime, or they can create one by his or her will when intention is that the trust comes into effect when they die. So this is just information. There's nothing to explain here. So someone creates one by a will. If it is a trust, when created during someone's lifetime, it is a settlement. The settlement comes from the name of the legal document that creates the trust, but in practice, practitioners use the term to refer to either. To create a trust involves the settler and the trustees executing a legal document. So in a trust, you have an author and trustee. So author is the person who wants to make this trust. So in this case, the customer who is transferring his estate would be the settler or the author. The settler and the trustee is executing a legal document known as trustee. So this also we had seen when in the account opening process that trust account for opening of a trust account, trust deed is mandatory. So trust deed actually details the terms and conditions of the trust. So trust deed is a very important document for settling the claim and also for making the trust. So known as a trust deed, and the settler transferring asset into the name of the trustees. So trust is therefore a legal vehicle into which the settler transfers assets and which is managed by the trustees who have responsibility to hold and apply the trust for the benefit of the named beneficiary. So therefore, if you look at the collective investment schemes in India are also formed as trust. So trustees don't hold it. They just have the responsibility to hold and apply the assets for the benefit of the beneficiary, which are the unit holders. And this is widely used by HNIs. So trusts are widely used in estate and tax planning for high net worth individuals. So it can be an alternative to the will. So trust can give greater flexibility as to the timing and terms under which assets are distributed. And estate planning also means asset preservation. So as a way of preserving the family fortune, as a way of to ensure the continuation of family business, to protect assets against the claims of others, to safeguard the interest of young and disabled children, including the provision of education, ensuring their interests are protected. And also as a way of ensuring certain charitable objectives are met. So this is a pictorial representation of how it works. So settler is the person who's making, or you can call him the author as well, who appoints a trust protector. Through the trust deed, there are trustees, the property and the beneficiary. So किसी भी ट्रस्ट में एक ऑथर होगा, एक ट्रस्ट डीड होगी और ट्रस्टी हो और बेनिफिशियरी होगा. So the trustee would outline the rights and duties and define the name of the beneficiary. The trustee will act on in the best interest of the beneficiary and pass of the beneficial ownership of the trust property. तो अभी आपका जो म्यूचुअल फंड में जो ट्रस्ट है उसका भी थोड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो गया होगा कि ट्रस्ट का क्या फंक्शन होता है. So trust are basically responsible for taking care of the interest of the beneficiary. And they have to act in the best interest of the beneficiary. So settler, or also the author, the person who creates a trust in the name of the settler. Trustee, the person that gives the property to after on behalf of others is called a trustee. So the person who takes care of the property until it passes on to the beneficiary is the trustee. Then you have the beneficiary. Beneficiaries are the actual actual people who will be benefited by that asset. So the individual for whom it is intended are known as beneficiary. They are expressly named, or the trust may refer to a class of beneficiary, such as my grandchildren who may survive me and attain the age of 21. So beneficiary are the ultimate owners of these assets in favor of the fund manager, where the fund manager would have the right or the authority to take decision on behalf of the customer. It's a delegation of authority. So a client may hold a range of investment in their own name or may have appointed a firm to manage their investment portfolio, and consideration need to be given. Attorney enables the donee to act on all matters for the donor, including managing their asset and attending dealings in the court. A specific power of attorney restricts the donee authority to act on a specific transaction. So for example, in a bank transaction also, I can give specific power of attorney or a general power of attorney. So for example, I just, I have an employee who I just want to know the balance in the account. So I'll just give a specific power of attorney for only knowing the balance or getting the statement. Anything else, or for example, issuing checks or stop payment, I might not give a power of attorney. So specific and general. Now let us understand the legal framework. Now I can, understand that you guys must be thinking, kya padhe hum? So regulatory agencies we have seen this many times. They define the rules and monitor the market. They are government. They can be government sponsored or independent of other agencies. They are government sponsored, independent of other agencies. Their main is to provide investor protection and to smooth functioning of the financial market. Now, nomination may be, transferring of the asset also. The rules have to be defined, क्योंकि again किसी को लगेगा ना, people will think, अरे मैं क्यों invest करूं, मेरे मरने के बाद तो difficult होगा इसका settlement करना. So therefore, the regulators will step up to also have provision for estate planning or for transferring of these assets to the next generation, financial assets in our case. So we have seen this. We'll just browse through it. So regulatory agencies function is to supervise the function of all market participants, to build confidence of the investors, to mitigate the financial crimes, to ensure financial stability, and to protect investors. अब ये जो है, transferring of the estate or deceased claim also can give rise to financial crime. So one example I gave you, in which the the branch officials, on coming to know the of death of a person, what they have done, they have made the nomination in their own name. So this is also a financial crime. Also, it can happen not only with the bank employees, it can happen with some other person can also participate. That if the person is dead, then there is a huge possibility that imposters or somebody not eligible to get his money has come to take that money. So the regulators, in our case RBI, has given clear guidelines on our duty to inform the customer about nomination and try to get the nomination. Maybe it doesn't depend on the age of the customer. You know, कोई 90 years का बूढ़ा आ रहा है तो मुझसे बोले सर नॉमिनेशन कर दो ना आपका एक पेयर कवर हो. Even if a person 25 years old is opening an account, suggest him to nominate, because death is so uncertain. You don't know when it will happen. So if you have nomination in place, it will be easy to settle the estate of the customer. ये सब हम लोग देख चुके हैं. We don't need to explain anything and just read it out. So regulators register listed securities. So for example, all capital market intermediaries have to be registered with SEBI. They set the rules and regulations to ensure compliance. They also resolve the disputes. They set out the listing requirements for issuer of securities. Register stock exchange and dealing members. They do market surveillance to prevent insider trading. Licenses dealing members, facilitate the secondary trading of securities. So apart from that, there are regulations for passing on the estate of the deceased to the legal heirs as well. So these are some regulatory authorities which we have done, we have seen many times. And then because we are dealing in the financial market space, so we'll also have the Ministry of Finance. Okay. So the risk of losing money that can arise from many types of financial transaction has meant that financial market have always been subject to need for rules and codes of conduct to protect investors and public. And if you've seen 1992 scam, you would know that SEBI did not have much powers at that time, and therefore it was not able to control the scam. However, now things have changed. SEBI has got more teeth to control the market. So that is because the Ministry of Finance gave it that power. So these rules have not always been in place or enforced as robustly as they should be across various jurisdictions in varying degree. As market developed, they grew a need for market participants to be able to set rules so that they have agreed standard of behavior and to provide a mechanism of settlement dispute readily, a system of self-regulation. So for example, in stock market, SEBI has rule. Apart from that, even the stock exchange where the securities are listed would have its own set of rules for its member. So in addition to fulfilling its main function of providing a secondary market for shares, a stock exchange would also set rules for its member and police their implementation. So now we have been talking about globalization and liberalization. So that means the freedom to do business has increased, and therefore the need for regulation has also increased. So with development of global financial market came the need for improved and common standard as well as international cooperation. Self-regulation became increasingly untenable due to inherent conflicts of interest, and most countries moved to a statutory approach that is with rules laid down by law, so that breaking them can be a criminal offense. And especially if you're doing business with the American companies, the rules are very stringent, you know. So there's been a discussion ki, Reliance में Facebook और Google ने invest किया है, so now they will have stringent regulations. So they also established their own independent regulatory body. The regulatory framework governing the financial service system in India has been built up over more than a century and continues to evolve. And as a result, there are multiple agencies involved in regulation of the financial services. So you have the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, because most of them are companies. So the Ministry of Finance, Government of India has a wide range of responsibility, including responsibility for the financial service sector. The Ministry of Finance, Government of India has a wide range of responsibility, including responsibility for the financial service sector. And we have seen the separate agencies are responsible for supervision of various sectors to the financial service industry. अच्छा, मनी मार्केट म्यूचुअल फंड का कौन है रेगुलेटर?
मैम आरबीआई
वैसे और वैसे कौन है?
मैम
और यूलिप का कौन रेगुलेटर है? यूलिप तो सेकेंडरी मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करता है ना, तो यूलिप का कौन रेगुलेटर है?
मैम सेबी
सेबी
नहीं, IRDA.
आईआईटी
ULIP is unit linked insurance plan. So finally, it's an insurance product. Okay. So IRDA is the regulator,
ओके मैम
right? It's Department of Financial Service Administration, government policy relating to public sector banks, financial institutions, insurance, and pension reform. So, even the Ministry of Finance is involved in this. Then the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India is also tasked with making listed and unlisted company more accountable and improving their governance practice. So they keep on giving guidelines for better management. So these are some agencies, but a Forward Market Commission has now merged with SEBI. So main regulatory bodies, ये IRDA है, PFRDA नहीं है. So Reserve Bank of India, we all know about it, regulator of commercial banks. Apart from regulator of commercial bank, what else does RBI regulate? Commercial bank तो हमको सबको पता है. Now as bankers, do you know what other markets does the RBI regulate? Anyone? ये तो सबको पता होगा, आरबीआई तो सबको पता है, रिजर्व बैंक है रेगुलेटर ऑफ कमर्शियल बैंक. पर इतने दिन से आप इमार्टिकस में है, तो आपको और कुछ पता है कि नहीं पता है? और क्या रेगुलेट करता है आरबीआई?
मनी मार्केट.
मनी मार्केट और फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मार्केट.
Yes, ma'am.
Foreign exchange market is also governed by RBI, is regulated by RBI. SEBI, we all know, regulator of the security markets. Forward Market Commission, which is now a part of Securities and Exchange Board of India, governs the commodity market. Then Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDA, governs the insurance industry. Sorry. PFRDA is the regulator of pensions sector. So these are the main regulator in India. Then you have the Ministry of Corporate Affairs as well, because Companies Act is also a regulation. So the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or MCA, is an Indian government ministry. The ministry is primarily concerned with administration of the Companies Act, the Limited Liability Partnership Act, and other allied acts and rules and regulations. It mainly regulates the function of the corporate sector in accordance with law. So MCA is responsible mainly for regulation of Indian enterprises in the industrial and service sector. In 2013, the Companies Act passed to regulate fraud by corporation and is intended to avoid the accounting scandals such as Satyam scandal, which had blocked India. तो कितने लोगों ने सत्यम के बारे में पढ़ा था? ये मैंने आपको होमवर्क दिया था एक बार. सत्यम के बारे में पढ़ना.
यस मैम.
क्या हुआ था सत्यम?
मैम सत्यम में बेसिकली बाद में वो जो वहाँ के ऑफिशियल थे, हाई ऑफिशियल थे, उनको उनको रिजाइन करना पड़ा था अंडर द प्रेशर. मतलब there was a loss and the guys were showing as if there is a constant profit in the company. So Satyam scam was all about that.
Yeah, Satyam scam was all about dressing their books of account. That means they were not disclosing the
about
information.
misrepresentation, we can say.
Yes, misrepresentation. So उसके बाद तो आप अभी ना कोई कुछ भी उठा के देखो, आप फाइनेंशियल एटलीस्ट दिस इज व्हाट वन फील्ड आई नो, बट फाइनेंशियल हिस्ट्री में कुछ भी उठा के देख लो, पहले क्या होगा, एक स्कैम होगा, उसके बाद एक रेगुलेशन आएगा। सेबी भी इतना पॉपुलर क्यों हुआ है? सेबी 1992 से पहले एग्जिस्ट करता, 1992 में एक्चुअली बना था, बट उसके पास कोई पावर्स नहीं थे। आफ्टर द हर्षद मेहता स्कैम हैपेंड, it was given powers. RBI also was formed because there was a banking scam or banking failure which had happened in 1929, and therefore RBI was formed in 1935. So पहले scam होगा, उसके बाद एक authority बन जाएगी to take care of that. So the ministry had constituted a committee for framing a national competition policy and related matters under the chairmanship of Dhanendra Kumar, former chairman of Competition Commission of India. So competition से क्या मतलब होगा corporate affairs को? What competition has got to do? कुछ फर्क पड़ता है business पे competition से?
Yes, ma'am. Competition offers a variability to the customer. So basically, it is all about the market being customer centric.
Yes.
It is in the profit of customer as well. I mean, in the goodness of customer as well. So
Correct.
this is the thing.
Yeah. So there can be two things. If there is no competition, if there is monopoly, obviously the customer will be at the receiving end.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, if there is a lot of competition, people can take undue advantage of that as well. So there has to be a balance. Also, because of the changing environment and the changing way to do business, the Companies Act replaces the Company 2013 replaces the Companies Act 1956, which proven outmoded in terms of handling 21st century's problem. तो उसमें आपकी जो Companies Act है, उसको रिप्लेस किया. सो ऑब्वियसली ना, इतना पुराना एक्ट है 1956 का, इन 50 years later it might not that be that relevant, so it is replaced by a new Companies Act. So the Ministry of Corporate Affairs administers the following law: the Companies Act 2013, Companies Act 1956, Competition Act 2002, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices 1969, the Chartered Accountant Act 1949 as amended by the Chartered Accountant Act 2006, the Companies Secretary Act 1980 as amended by the Company Secretary Act 2006. So basically, all the law relating to the working of the companies are regulated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So the Cost and Work Accountant Act, Companies Donation to Nation Act, the Indian Partnership Act, Societies Regulation Act, the Companies Act amendments, the Limited Liability Partnership Act. So limited liability, if you see, is a relatively a new law. So पहले हमारी सिर्फ Partnership Act था, which is very old, 1932. Now the Limited Liability Partnership Act. Now you also have Register of Companies. इनका क्या कोई function देखा हमने कभी? इनको कभी सुना इनके बारे में? Register of Companies का. Have you seen any function of these? क्या करते हैं ये? कौन लोग होते हैं ये?
Ma'am, registrars.
हाँ, Register of Companies, ROC.
Yes, ma'am. Registrars maintain the registers, basically details of the customers and all,
Okay.
all that things.
What will they do for the companies? They are not Register of Companies in terms of registrar and transfer agents. They are different. They are a regulatory body. Okay, account opening के time में आपको क्या क्या document चाहिए होते? Company को account opening करना है
Ma'am,
तो क्या क्या
IPO.
document चाहिए? हैं?
Ma'am,
ITO?
no, ma'am.
हाँ.
Ma'am,
ITO क्या चाहिए?
certificate of incorporation, and then address proof,
Memorandum.
and that should articles and memorandum of association. Then
Good. Okay, hold on. तो आपको certificate of incorporation कौन देता है? Register of Companies देता है. ये regulatory body. It is different. Think him as the registrar on transfer agents we have seen in transferring and maintaining records. It's a regulatory body where all companies have to register before starting their operations. Okay, so these are, and a lot of returns also have to be filed with the register of companies. So the register of company, तो अगर आपको कोई कंपनी बनानी है तो आपको अपने आप को रजिस्टर ऑफ कंपनी के पास रजिस्टर करना पड़ेगा, एंड देन फ्रॉम देयर यू विल गेट अ सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन. So the register of company, India is the official agency that deals with administration of the Companies Act. It falls under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It has offices in all major states of the company. Register of Company is the primarily regulator of the company related matters in India. It is popularly known as ROC. So the Companies Act 1956 of the Parliament of India, which enabled companies to be formed by registration and set out responsibility of companies, their directors and secretaries. Secretaries here, वो steno वाली secretary नहीं है, company secretary. Company secretary, I'm sure all of you know, is a qualification in itself, which are people which take care of the legal matters of the company. So it is administered by the Government of India through the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Office of Registrar of Companies, Official Liquidator, Public Trustee, Company Law Board, Director of Inspection, etc. So the Registrar of Company handles incorporation of new companies and administration of running companies. So यहीं से आपको certificate of incorporation मिलता है. Obviously, it has been amended. The law has been amended depending on the requirement of the time. So since its commencement, it has been amended many times. So amended in 1988, 1990, 96, 2000, and 2001 are notable. अच्छा, तो बैंक के लिए एप्लीकेबल होगा कि नहीं होगा? बैंक का रेगुलेटर तो आरबीआई है, रजिस्टर ऑफ कंपनी से क्या करना है बैंक को? क्यों? Yes or no? Okay, so with concerning legal matters, RBI, financial matters, RBI would be the regulator. However, if the company is listed on the stock exchange, it will also come under the purview of register.
मैम हेलो.
हाँ, yes Siddharth.
मैम जो बैंक नया जगह खुला है तो उसको भी रजिस्ट्रार पे अपना रजिस्टर करना पड़ेगा क्या?
नहीं, बैंक को तो ऑब्वियसली आरबीआई से रजिस्टर होना है, पर जो भी मैटर्स उसके कंसर्निंग है, नहीं एक्चुअली यहाँ भी इनको रजिस्टर ऑफ कंपनीज में भी एक नंबर मिलेगा. They have to be registered with them also. अगर उनको especially if it's a listed bank, they have to issue shares. Obviously, they'll also be governed by register of companies with regard to collecting money from the public. Right? तो दोनों regulation लगेगा. तो bank, obviously bank for getting the license, it has to go to RBI. The banking license would be given by RBI. But as a company, the company would have to be registered with register of companies as well. So it is responsible for incorporation of a company, responsibility of a company, director of a company, and dissolution of a company.
Yes.
So ये सब तो सिर्फ information है. It has 29 chapters, 470 sections, and 7 schedules. So the act came into force on 12 September 2013 with few changes like earlier private companies maximum number of, ये तो आपको बताया था ना, याद है कि private company और public company में क्या फर्क है? Private company has maximum of
Yes, ma'am.
200
shareholders.
200 shareholder.
Correct. तो ये एक recent development है. And also they have come up with a new term which is one-person company. So a new term of one-person company is included in this act. That will be private company, and only 98 provisions of the act are notified. Also corporate social responsibility. So the Ministry of Corporate Affairs stated that section 135 of the act will deal with corporate social responsibility, will come into effect from 1st April 2014. On 26th March 2014, the MCA stated that another 183 sections will be notified from 1st April 2014. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs thereafter proposed a draft notification for exempting private companies from the abate of various section under the Companies Act. So, इसलिए private companies हमने देखा था कि they are riskier because the number of regulations for public companies are more than that for a private company. तो जितनी ज्यादा regulation होगी उतनी ज्यादा stability होगी company में. Private company में कम regulation होती है. तो if you can also relate with the risk of private equity because the regulations for private companies are less stringent than a public company. तो अब आपको public company और private company का difference पूरा revise हो गया होगा. So first difference is that a private company can have only 200 members and the shares have restricted transferability. So ये कुछ regulations है. So some provisions and improvisation done by ROC along with consent with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So 1-person company means a company which has only one person as a member. It's a private company having only one member and at least one director. Because it is a one-person member, one-person company, there is no compulsion to hold annual general meeting. Conversion of existing private companies with paid up capital of 50 lakhs and turnover of 2 crores into OPC is permitted. So जो companies छोटी companies है, they can convert themselves back into one-person companies. There's also a provision for women inclusion. So every listed company, public company will with paid up capital of 100 crores or more, public company with turnover of rupees 300 crores or more shall have at least one women director. Then they have also specified corporate social responsibility. So because the companies are doing business with the public in general, they should do something for the society as well. So every company having net worth of rupees 500 crores or more or turnover of rupees 1000 crore or more on a net profit of rupees 5 crore or more during a financial year shall constitute a social responsibility committee of the board consisting of 3 or more directors, out of which at least one director shall be an independent director. So you should also have registered valuers and valuation. So valuation is very important. किस चीज की कीमत क्या है, assets की कीमत क्या है, right? So where a valuation is required to be made in respect of any property, stock, shares, debenture, securities or goodwill or any other asset or net worth of a company or its liability under the provision of the act, it shall be valued by a person having such qualification and experience and registered as a valuer of such manner on such terms and conditions as they may be prescribed and appointed by audit committee on in absence by board of directors of that company. तो इसका फायदा क्या है? फायदा तभी है अगर मान लो कंपनी वाइंड अप हो रही है, लिक्विडेशन में जा रही है, तो किस एसेट की क्या वैल्यू है, दैट शुड बी डन बाय द रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूएटर्स. Then there can be a dormant company. Dormant account हमने देखा था, याद है? Dormant का मतलब क्या है? क्या मतलब होगा dormant का?
Ma'am, inactive. Dormant means inactive.
Yeah, dormant is inactive, so you have this you use this terminology even for your accounts. So they can be a dormant account and the bank needs to be careful for allowing operation in a dormant account. So dormant company is a company which is inactive. So when a company is formed and registered under this act for a future project or to hold an asset or intellectual property and has no significant accounting transaction, such a company or an inactive company may make an application to the registrar for obtaining the status of a dormant company. क्योंकि एक्टिव कंपनी को बहुत सारे रिपोर्ट्स फाइल करने पड़ते हैं, तो अगर कंपनी में कोई काम नहीं हो रहा है, they can register as themselves as dormant company. So then class 245 for the first time, a provision has made for class action suits. It is provided that, it's provided that specific number of members, depositor of any class of them may, if there are of the opinion that management or control of the affairs of the company are being conducted in a manner prejudicial to the interest of the company and its member or depositor, file an application before tribunal on behalf of the members or depositors. So नो कंपनी किसका पैसा लगा है, डिपॉजिटर्स का ही पैसा लगा है ना, मेंबर्स का ही पैसा लगा है, सो दे कैन क्वेश्चन दैट. So where the member or depositor seek any damage or compensation or demand any other suitable action from or against an audit firm, the liability shall be in firm as well as each partner who was involved in making any improper or misleading statement of particulars in audit report or who acted in fraudulent, lawful or unlawful manner. And the order passed by the tribunal shall be binding on the company and all its member, depositor and auditors, including audit firm or expert or consultant or advisor or any other person associated with the company. So basically it means the companies, the registrar of company registered all the companies, and in case there is some problem, people can take action. So basically we have seen that regulators are formed to maintain the sanctity of the markets and to hold on to the interest of the investors, because if this doesn't happen, people will not invest. So ROC will take ensure that the regulations they have laid down are followed by the company, and in case there is a disconnect or there is a dissatisfaction, members have some way to get compensated. SEBI के बारे में तो हम बहुत पढ़ चुके हैं. So we've seen SEBI is a controlled body that is entrusted with the task of protecting the interest of investors in securities and promoting growth of security market by implementing suitable rules and laws. It was officially established by government in 1992 and it regulates the primary market, secondary market, mutual fund and foreign institutional investors. Okay. सिद्धार्थ, प्राइमरी मार्केट सेकेंडरी मार्केट याद है क्या है? देवेश का क्या है भाई? देवेश ज्वाइन करता है फिर चले जाता है. व्हाट इज इट?
हमें प्राइमरी और सेकेंडरी मार्केट पता है.
हाँ, क्या है प्राइमरी मार्केट?
मैम जो फर्स्ट टाइम कंपनी अपना आईपीओ लाती है मार्केट में तो उसको मैम प्राइमरी मार्केट कहते हैं.
करेक्ट. और सब्सिक्वेंट ट्रांजैक्शन हैपेंस इन द सेकेंडरी मार्केट. करेक्ट.
सेकेंडरी में एग्जिस्टिंग जो रहते हैं कंपनी रहती है उसको कहते हैं.
Correct. So this we have seen functions of SEBI. We have seen that it is a regulator of stock exchange and other security market. All intermediaries related with the secondary market or the security market needs to be registered with SEBI. So it registers and regulates the working of intermediaries and key players. Register and regulate the working of collective investment schemes like mutual fund, prohibiting fraudulent activities in the security market, prohibiting insider trading. Insider trading क्या है? Insider trading क्या है?
मैम इलीगली तरीके से मतलब
Ma'am, may I?
Sharing illegally information to one another.
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Arpita.
Ma'am, insider trading is using companies' confidential information for sole purpose, for personal
For personal gain.
for
Correct.
personal gains.
Yeah. So that is also prohibited by SEBI. Then stabilizing prices, promoting investors' education, inspecting and inquiries on a regular basis, regulating substantial acquisition of shares and takeovers, and levying charges and other charges, and conducting research. So basically, SEBI function is to maintain the sanity of the markets and to ensure that customers do not lose money. Obviously, they cannot, promise it कि अगर आपने कंपनी में लगाया उसका शेयर प्राइस नीचे हो गया. That is something which they can't do, but they prevent malpractices in the market. Okay, so we'll end the class here today, and tomorrow probably we'll have to continue with this as well. अच्छा, मुझे अभी पता नहीं चला या मतलब I did not have a chance to speak with Sakshi कि फ्राइडे को क्या करना होगा. I will let you know by tomorrow. कल मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि फ्राइडे को exactly होगा क्या. So
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, Arpita.
Ma'am, today I was going through an article where PNB said that his company's account has gone NPA. So how company's account can go NPA? मतलब I couldn't make out this statement, so that's why I
What is it?
found
I didn't get it, Arpita. What is it?
Ma'am, they had
Repeat me
given
yourself.
a statement where they
Uh-huh.
said the company's account has gone an NPA. मतलब it became an NPA, right?
So were they
So
talking about a specific company?
no, ma'am, they were
If you
not
can
talking
read
about.
me the statement, probably I'll be able to make some sense out of it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was in my briefings that I get every morning, so I'll be sharing it with you. Then I think then
Share
they
it
will
with
be.
me and then we will discuss. I cannot make out what you're trying to say.
Yes, yes. Even
So,
even that was same problem with me. I couldn't make out
okay.
that statement.
Okay, so just send it to me. I'll read it
Yeah, yeah.
and discuss with you in the next class.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
you. Nice to meet you.
okay, chalo. So we'll end the class
Thank
today
you.
and we'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye.